Hey, y'all, welcome to another edition of the Philadelphia Millennial Podcast Quarantine Edition. And this is the first time that I've recorded all of them, but that both parties are presentable during quarantine and are up to doing a bit of video and giving you guys some video content. So it's me, Imani, and today, I actually have the first guest that I had never actually met in person. But the laws of attraction, good people that know good people, and it just kind of spirals from there. And what's also so dope about this podcast, in this particular episode, is that she's in South Africa. How cool is that? So we're going to get into her story, find out how she even ended up there, how quarantine is treating her over there, and the difference between being in South Africa and America at this time. And just a whole other myriad of things about growth and vibing, and just really navigating this thing called life. So without further ado, I have my guest today, Megan Green of MBG Naturals. And she just does a lot. So introduce yourself, tell people about you, and then I have my first question I'm ready to ask.
Okay, perfect. I'm Megan. I have a actually let's start here. I have my business is like my baby. You know what I mean? I've been giving so much to it for the last few years, and now it's at a point where it's finally evolving where I've wanted it to be. I grew up in Philadelphia. And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. My whole mantra is getting comfortable with discomfort and motivating yourself, vibing every day, and like focusing on growth. So that's me.
Nice. Okay. So first of all, how long is the flight you're in Cape Town, right?
Yeah, so before I flew to Cape Town the last few times from LA.
Okay.
And it's basically a 15-hour flight to Dubai or Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
And then you take a 9-hour flight to Cape Town. But when you count, like usually when you go to Abu Dhabi or Dubai, you'll have a layover. So it just ends up being a whole entire day.
Gotcha. So how did you end up, okay, so you're from Philly, but then I heard you mention LA.
Yeah.
You're in South Africa. So what really, I guess, because you've obviously lived other places besides Philly and South Africa, what like got you out of Philly, like that made you take that major jump? Because I just find it very interesting, people that like pick up and relocate. And I've always admired it. I haven't lived in Philly for the 4 years that I went to college, but my mom is from Virginia, and when she was just 18, her, my grandma, and my aunt just kind of picked up and left and started a whole nother life and like never moved back. So I just think it's amazing, and it just shows so much strength when people just kind of neglect everything they know to kind of go on a journey to find themselves and just start a whole new life. So that's my take on it. So what made you leave Philly in the first place? Or how'd you get out?
Well, look, get out. Well, honestly, ever since I was younger, I've always wanted to move. I think, you grow up watching these movies, and even something as simple as like The Proud Family. Think about how that was the show, right? They were in LA. On the first time I was on La Cienega Boulevard, I was like, oh my God.
Like I'd have made
So
it.
I think I think you watch these shows and you see all these different places. And to be honest, I had a vision of myself moving, but sometimes you don't really know what's possible for you until you move. My first time getting on the plane, I was maybe in the 11th grade. So I think after we did like this Caribbean cruise, and not only did I want to like not go to college so I could work on a cruise ship just to make those little like animal towels. You know what I mean? I feel
Yes.
like it was like one of the first moments where I started getting the travel bug, where I was just like, okay, I need to see more. I grew up kind of going from different family members, like homes. Like I was the person, like if I went to my aunt's house for a sleepover, I would come with my toothbrush, my panties, and a pair of clothes for the next day, just in case I got to stay with one of my cousins. So I feel like I started like living my life on the go very early.
Got
And like,
you.
you know, when your parents are like, nah, you can't go, you don't have your clothes. I used to be like, I have my clothes, I have a toothbrush, I have everything. So yeah,
Like
it kind of
stay
started
ready,
early,
you
and
don't have to
college
get ready.
solidified it. What would you say?
I said, stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
No, exactly. It started when I was younger, and it just got solidified in college. I feel like I was really, really ambitious, and I just saw a lot of my peers around me, you know, relocation and like studying abroad, and like all these things were a tool that they used for advancement just due to growth. So I was like, okay, well, that's what the white people are doing. I guess I got to do it too, you know? So.
Yeah. So you went to college in LA?
No. I actually went to Villanova. So
Okay.
I grew up in South Philly, but I also grew up in North Philly. So I kind of got like the Meek story, kind of back and forth a little bit. Then I ended up going to Villanova. So I went to Doherty, went to Villanova, and after Villanova.
Well, you know, I meant to, that's because I know your cousin. So yes.
But yeah, so I went to Villanova, and during college, I started to do a little more traveling. Like I did a study abroad program,
Okay.
and that really exposed me. And I led this service break trip to El Salvador. Mm-hmm. So I started getting these experiences in college that made me start to get the travel bug.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got you. So. How'd you get to LA?
Oh yeah, okay. So I went to Villanova. I was working in the aerospace industry. The company I was working for, they were based in Portland, Oregon. And for me, I'm really ambitious. So I was like, okay, if they're based in Portland, Oregon, that means that's where the CEO is, right? And they were like, yeah. And all of their senior management was out there. So I was like, okay, if I really want my career to blossom in this company, I need to be where the A1 people are.
Right.
You know? So yeah, so I relocated to Portland a month after college. Yeah, a month after college. I lived in Portland for about 3 years. Then I relocated to LA because I wanted to go to grad school in LA. And it just so happened that I ended up getting a job just before, still working in the aerospace industry, but working for a nonprofit. And we used to teach aerospace inspection skills to veterans and underserved communities. So that led to LA. Like this guy we met through LinkedIn, I literally ended up like helping him out with his like nonprofit because I thought it was super dope.
Right.
And then when he got like $1 million grant from the state of California, he was like, can you move here? Like, and then in my job description, he was like, we'll be required to unwind by the beach. And I was just like, oh, and I was literally living in Portland. It was raining all of the time.
Right.
And it was too much. So, you know, LA was like the first time where, you know, people didn't see why moving to LA was possible. Everyone was like, oh, what if it doesn't work? It's too expensive, you know, and they just gave me all the reasons why it wouldn't work. And I think that's when you have to really write down all the reasons why it could work. So that led to LA, and then I went to USC for grad school.
That's so powerful. You know, writing down and visualizing why it will work and all the benefits rather than harping on what won't work. So
yeah, exactly.
Thus far, what is one of the most like rewarding projects you've worked on?
Okay, so I would say I have a workshop. Well, this is really, really my baby. It's called the Crown Workshop.
Okay.
And it's something I thought about when I was in Doherty. Like, we had this assignment where we had to create a nonprofit of our dreams. And I thought that, you know, there's so many little girls who don't grow up with people who can do their hair, or they can't really afford it. So I was like, what
Mm-hmm.
if we were able to incentivize like hair care with school to kind of encourage people to do well? But long story short, about a year, actually, it's only been since October, I launched this actually September in Brooklyn, I launched this workshop called the Crown Workshop, where I'll teach little girls how to take care of their natural hair and just how to get comfortable with it and just how to love themselves. You know, it's more of like, it's a professional development course because I've done that in corporate settings for such a
Okay.
long time. I've also done diversity training in organizations for a long time. So I think utilizing all those skills and making it creative, I created this workshop where, you know, we'll talk about natural hair, talk about why a lot of people don't like their natural hair and where it comes from, just like with colonialism and everything. And then in the workshop, we actually create avocado hair mask in my business. I started off making avocado hair products.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the most rewarding work ever because I'm teaching the little girls how to do basic natural hairstyles, how to make products, and it's really cool. It's a very intimate workshop where the little girls are like sharing what they like about their hair, what they don't like, and you really build like the camaraderie within the group. You know, I'm pretty sure after that workshop, even if the girls didn't maybe even like the other girls, it became super cool because of it.
Right. Oh,
So that's the most rewarding work I've done. And like starting it in Brooklyn, doing it in LA, and then launching it in Cape Town this fall. Like I literally cried after a workshop because I was like, I just can't believe, you know, when you've been working for something for so long and it
yeah.
happens. Yeah, I feel like this is what I was born to do.
Oh, that's
And sharing my story as well too, so they get to know me throughout the process.
yes, and definitely that trust factor because what I remember about like growing up and being in school, a lot of the assemblies and things we had, people didn't necessarily look like us. Um,
Exactly.
especially in high school. Um, you know, Catholic school was something else. Um, so it was so representation and like just being able to be authentic and transparent with the next generation. Definitely helps. So real quick, like this, I didn't plan to ask this question, but it's out of pure curiosity. So once like we get back to a new normal or get more acclimated with the new normal,
Yeah.
where are your next workshops going to be? Are they going to be just in South Africa, or are you bringing them back to the States?
It's going to be a mixture. Like if it wasn't COVID, I would have been doing workshops on the East Coast for a bit. So I would have came to South Africa for a few months. Then I would have went back to the US. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something online. I'm still going to do workshops in South Africa. And every time I come home, I'm going to do a workshop. So like I have workshops lined up for the summer at USC in Villanova and then one in DC. But due to COVID, we shall see. But yeah, it's definitely going to come. Like I wrote down all the cities in the world that I want to have it, just because I like to visualize it. I'm that deep. But
No,
yeah,
it
so
like no, like that's my my vision
yeah,
board for the year. So no, I definitely and like my bed is over there. So it's just like as soon as I kind of open my eyes, I can see it and some other like goals and affirmations and stuff just to keep my eyes on the prize.
yes,
So
yeah,
yes,
exactly. But
so
yeah, it's definitely coming back, and I want to do it globally.
nice. Okay. So how has traveling and being a world traveler and like living at this point you can say all over the world, um how has that like impacted your personal growth?
Well, to be honest, I feel like when I grew up, I kind of feel like I love Philly just because, people from Philly have very like unique personalities. I feel like once you're in, you're in. You can meet people who are really loyal, but really funny.
Hmm. Oh, hello, Megan. I don't know what happened. Let's see. We're back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
That's okay. We're millions of
Okay.
miles away.
Yeah, that's probably it. Okay, so I'll start over. What was the question? How has
I
travel
asked you, how has it really impacted you moving? Like your personal growth. We kind of touched on professionally, but just like personally, how do you feel like, it has changed you and it made you
okay.
different? And you
Okay, I
were the
got yeah,
last
I
thing
got
I
it.
heard you say was like people from Philly have very interesting personalities.
Yeah, so I feel like people from Philly have very interesting personalities. The one thing that was kind of hard for me and a little bit growing up, and as I've gotten older, is that if you are not walking in a specific path that's really popular, sometimes you can be ostracized or be like, oh, like you're weird for doing that because that's not what
Mm-hmm.
we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, being able, the first time I really like significantly left Philly was living in Copenhagen, Denmark. So I did a study abroad program there, and I just kind of felt like I was living in a whole new country, and I just got to really like know more of myself outside of being like, well, don't do that because that's too weird. I feel like I could do me on 1,000, and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
really like,
That's
and
quotable. That's
it's
tweetable.
no, exactly. And I feel like me being able to travel and live in different places, it helped me to see that like, everyone everyone can do their own thing and still coexist. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you're doing that, it's weird. Like, maybe this is like what I'm on right now. And if you're
Right.
not on it, that's cool. But it doesn't have to be like you're corny or you know what I mean? So
No,
traveling has really helped me
definitely.
it's helped me come more into myself, to be more of myself. It's helped me to grow because you really have to be very confident to, take jobs in new cities or new countries and like be comfortable meeting people. It gets you out of your comfort zone. I've gotten much more like adventurous from a nature perspective because of traveling and just
That's
like friends.
that's real because I went walking in Valley Green the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And I told a friend I was talking to that every time like I begin walking in Valley Green, I have to tell myself like I'm okay. Cause just for like a second, I'm like, I'm in this woods, people, animals, no cell phone service. I don't like it. So I can see why traveling forces you to, in some way, become more comfortable in nature.
Yeah. And also being like more understanding that we've grown up with this sense that America is like the best place and like this is how things should be, but like there are other countries and people and nations and cultures who are doing well, and it's really cool, and we can all coexist differently. And I think traveling opens your mind to that. I kind of think of like when people are like, oh, like you can move back to Philly, it's like staying in one place for me is kind of like staying in your bedroom and not seeing what else is out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like the person I've become because of just the growth that comes with it. It's not easy, but I think it's really, really necessary.
Right. So you said that kind of your mantra throughout life has been, or especially adulthood, um, getting comfortable with discomfort.
Yeah, getting comfortable with discomfort.
Yes. So what are some ways that you have um, gotten comfortable with discomfort?
Well, the one thing is moving, getting out of my comfort zone, being open to, I would say being open to try different like leadership positions and take on jobs that you didn't necessarily think you were ready for, but just learning and adjusting and being okay with that. Um, I would also say just really like challenging myself on different levels. Like I wasn't really like outdoorsy when I first moved to Portland. So like
Okay.
the Northwest is a very like beautiful like nature place. Like I remember like going whitewater rafting and I know. And, yeah, so I feel like I constantly like push myself because I think of stagnation as like just standing still, and I just don't like it. I just want to like continuously grind and like not even grind but continuously like ease into discomfort so I can be better as a result. So yeah, so all of those are ways I've done that, especially on a professional front.
Okay.
Even starting a business, like what?
That's what I was just
I've
about to
started a
ask you.
business,
And I
getting
actually
comfortable
meant
with
to ask
discomfort.
you that before we got cut off, too. Because I thought that was a great way that you tie your business into your workshops or something. I mean, they're both kind of like, but like you said, the crown workshops are like your baby. Like that's a passion project that you can just pay some institutions to pay you to do it, and then turn around and do free ones at will and when you feel like it. But I just think it's cool that you started your business, and I want to talk to you about that because I just
Okay.
started business. Um, I just think that's really cool that you were able to incorporate that in that way. It's kind of like a 2-for-1. So, how did you start your business? How did you start with avocado? Like,
All of it. Okay. Well, so this is what happened. I moved to Portland and it just rained a lot there. So I couldn't really be straightening my hair that much anyway because it would just kind of frizz up.
right.
And my hair is just extremely dry. So I just like, I love Pinterest. So I was working in the aerospace industry. I know no one in the city. So I literally have like time,
Mm-hmm.
So I would spend my time looking on Pinterest, looking up different recipes, and I would
Mm-hmm.
just look up like what rebuilds a hair follicle, and I tried out a lot of different concoctions, and honestly it was just for me. Like I like cooking, so I'd be mixing things on Snapchat and people would be like, oh my god, and then my hair just started like getting so thick, it started flourishing, and then people literally like, I was not trying to start a business at all. Someone literally sent me money
Those are my
before I
favorite.
even had containers.
Those are my favorites.
No, because I kept being like, first, I'm knee deep in the aerospace industry, right? So this is where I see myself. Like I'm trying to, and at that time I was trying to move up the corporate ladder. I was going to like move around with them. Um, but yeah, and I also think that I really couldn't find anything on the market, even more of the expensive masks that worked as effectively as mine. And then when people started sending me money before I had containers, I was like, okay, like let me try to get a container.
Right, because it's like, okay, guys, I appreciate it, but I literally have nothing to send this to you in. Like,
No, so I feel like people definitely really encouraged me. And moving to LA, I decided to start my hair page. I was like, okay, like I've been getting paid to do hair
your
since I
hair is
was
beautiful.
13. Thank you. So I've been in
Been getting
hair
what
for a
since you
long
were
time.
17?
No, I've been getting paid to do hair since I was 13.
Okay, so you've been an entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly. So all throughout, yeah, well, see, I wish I should have put those dots together. I noticed that like 2 years ago. I was like, you've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just started trying it out on my clients in LA and getting a lot of feedback. And it was just like, first I was thinking of a name, that has gone through different iterations. Then I had my first round of bottles, like these blue bottles. They were so ugly. Now when I look back, and being able to make the gradual changes over time is super cool. Yeah, and like after getting encouraged from my clients in LA and then in grad school, I was just like, you know what, like I've always been the face of companies and I've always like built up companies. Like I should do this for myself. And it took a long time for me to even get like confident enough to do it, honestly. So that's why it's been a gradual thing.
That is so interesting, you say. And it's funny when things that I think are like confirmed in little ways. But Black women make corporations a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the scale is real off. And I find that a lot of the skills that Black women acquire in corporate and perfect are like transferable. Like they can really help your own business. They can help other people with their business. So that's interesting that you said that, just doing a little mental note. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think that like it takes a level of confidence to go out on your own and decide to take those transferable skills and use it for yourself. But when you do, it's really, really, really rewarding. I think that, and just because I want to go here in this interview, I want to say this.
Go ahead.
I think that the hardest thing for me has been like, I kind of grew, like the way I grew up, I kind of feel like I didn't see a lot of entrepreneurs around me, you know? So it wasn't something that was even in like the trajectories. So when I feel like people believed in me before I believed in myself, you know? And a lot of it comes from, you know, you grow up in Philly. I grew up like, my like background is in foster care. So like growing up that way and like you have a lot of like feelings of discouragement and you feel like you have this mental story that you tell yourself that you're not worthy or, you know, you're not good enough. And that really influenced my entrepreneurial journey a lot because I didn't believe in myself because I had a lot of thoughts that I had to unlearn and a lot of like things that didn't even really belong to me. Like people project their own shit onto you. Yeah, so it took a long time to get through that. So that's why when you asked what was my like the most impactful thing I've ever done, I think being bold enough to be like, not only am I going to start this workshop that I've never seen done, but I'm also going to like bring it to South Africa and I'm going to do it like where the Black people live because like I'm putting on for the culture and like this is what I want. Like, and it's funny that all of my experiences in corporate America or working through different organizations doing their service projects, it was cool to be able to do it myself and not it wasn't like that white savior thing. It was like a Black woman coming in being like, yo, I love you. I've been here before. Like I haven't been specifically here, but I know what it feels like to not have a lot of money, to not grow up with, you know, ample like amount of resources and to really have to grind and make it work. And if like I could do it, like you could start taking the steps to like getting there yourself. So yeah.
I mean, what am I supposed to say after that?
Yeah, but I wanted to go there because
I know.
Like,
I mean,
some people are like, oh, like you. I remember being in Phoenix once, and this dude was like, "Yeah, you seem like the type you grew up from a 2-parent home," and it's like, not really. Like my teacher in high school told me that I wouldn't graduate high school. Let's start there. So, like, you know, you can really have like. No, exactly. But what I'm saying is like, you don't know where people come from. Like you don't have to look like what you've been through. You know what I mean? And like, that's what my brand is about. Just like motivating yourself, vibing and growing. And it takes time. Like I've been saying, I want to get comfortable with discomfort for 10 years. Like I've been grinding for 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
So, but whenever you start to see the changes, you start to read different things, which shifts your perspectives, which shifts your habits. And when you travel and you see more, you start to see more for yourself. And that's why it's so necessary that people do, because how can you imagine something for yourself that you've never really seen?
Right.
You know? And like it's possible, but you got to just start exposing yourself to newness so you can have inspiration to draw from. So yeah.
That's amazing. No, because people definitely have preconceived notions of what people in foster care are supposed to look like and be and do, and what people from two parent households are supposed to look like. They can't, like, people are people.
No, exactly. And I feel like I was really, really blessed to like get adopted by a really like wonderful family. But I think that there's a lot of damage that's done when you grow up as a child in that way, because you can have someone loving you, but like if you don't have the like love for yourself, it's gonna, like, the thing is, a lot of the things that I'm doing now I could have done a while ago, but it just took a while to build up the confidence, because if people have never seen anything like it and you tell them, like, sometimes they can like make you not believe in yourself even more, you know? So it's like definitely finding people who can like encourage you too. Super dope and like necessary.
Absolutely. I flat out told a client yesterday not to listen to her best friend.
Yeah.
Like, best friend is a best friend. I'm sure best friend is a great friend, but you have to let best friend stay in the front category and not the business advisor coach, because best friend doesn't have one. So she can't necessarily speak on things that she doesn't know, even though she probably has good influence.
Yeah, and like people love you, but sometimes it's like, sometimes people are scared and they wouldn't do it themselves. So sometimes you can have some of those things projected onto you, and that's really a recipe for disaster, you know? And just understanding that like people, it doesn't even have to be ill intention. It's just like ignorance because you don't know. And it's like, I've never seen this, you've never seen this, I can't listen to you. So, yeah.
One more thing I want to ask you are, what are some ways that have been beneficial for you that you would like to pass on to people, of ways you've kind of unlearned things and have healed from certain things to kind of get out of your own way, to build the confidence to do these things?
Well, first, it's an ongoing process. I have one area in my life that I'm still in my own way, and I hope that like in 2 months I won't be in my own way anymore. But yeah, I think that like I journal, you know, journaling, talking to someone. At some point, I had I call him my shrink. You know, I had my shrink for a bit, and like just getting different perspectives. I think reading. I listen to like Les Brown. I listen to Jim Ron. I listen to Lisa Nichols,
That's my girl.
Oprah, Maya Angelou. You know, so all these people, they give you little like nuggets that you can take, and like you don't have to know them personally to like extract the lessons. And like even like journaling, you know, like, okay, Lisa Nichols, she has this thing where she's like, you know, you got to look in the mirror every day and be like, I love you, I forgive you for, I commit to you for. I'm literally like, now every day I'm in the mirror like, girl, you know I love you. You know what I mean? So I really got to like hype myself up now, because it's hard, you know? But definitely journaling has been really, really helpful, because I think you have to get some of these things out. And like, I also write a lot of what I want, you know? So like I'll write what the type of person I want to be, what I want my life to look like, where I want to travel. And more importantly, I think the biggest thing that's going to like contribute to the success that's going to come with my business is that I invest in myself. You know, like even when I had the money, like I didn't spend it on like bags or like Gucci or like Balenciagas or any of that stuff, because I felt like, damn, well, if I do this training, like it's not going to pay off immediately, but like in like 2 years, it's going to be great to have this, like be able to public speak,
Right.
you know? So investing in myself
Yes.
through education and like putting myself out there, like I'll call somebody and be like, hi, my name is Megan. You know, I love what you're doing. And, what advice would you have for someone just starting out? Like, I'd love to have 10 minutes every time, and I think when you are that bold, you start to attract different people and you start to heal because you start to have, like, I tell people it's all about gradual refinement. So you start to have little wins along the way that builds your confidence and contributes to your healing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So yeah.
That was perfect.
But yeah, that has definitely helped.
Okay. So before I give you an opportunity to basically plug whatever you got going on and let people know where they can find you, is there anything else that you would like to leave the people with? Thoughts, things on your heart, things you feel like people need to know?
I think that you should encourage your friends, and I think that you should like encourage people around you who are just trying things out, even if they're like not really good at it now, because even like I feel like I've been like not terrible, but like there's been so much to learn in my entrepreneurial journey, and like it takes a lot of courage to start something new and try it out. And like y'all don't understand how just you gotta support your friends, share their stuff, like like you gotta give people the words of encouragement, because we're already like, especially as a creative, like we're already our biggest like critic. So like it would be cool if, even if you're not at a point where you've like ventured into something on your own, like support your friends. Like I have friends that like support my business like it's their business, and it's the same.
Right.
So yeah, just give support because it's free. It's free. It's free. Like, so yeah.
Absolutely. That's so very true. I hope that part resonated with somebody. That
For
face
real.
like I was thinking of somebody in particular, but I wasn't. So where can the people find you, follow you? Are you currently still selling products?
Actually, no, not at the moment, because I've just recently started to go start the process of merging my brand with a South African brand.
Nice.
So it's coming really soon. But if you do want to like keep up, my brand is Motivate, Vibe, Grow. And if you look up MVG Naturals on Instagram, you'll find it. You'll see my work so far. And eventually that's going to change to Crown Workshop. But yeah, you can just stay updated on what's next. I try to make sure my content is really real. My sister told me she can't handle the really long paragraphs, but like I'm giving you a free game. So like read up, backtrack.
That's where all the nuggets are.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where all the nuggets are.
And you can go to my website, mvgnaturals.com. And the MVG stands for Motivate, Vibe, Grow. So mvgnaturals.com. And you can sign up for my newsletter, because I try to send out really like motivational videos and stuff, and like vibey content, and like ways to step out of your comfort zone.
Oh, that's awesome sauce. That's why I like certain people on the show, on the podcast, because I always wanted to come full circle. I always want guests to have like a platform where if people are needing, craving more afterwards, they have somewhere, to go. Just out of curiosity, is your middle initial V?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
That's just like the weird business branding. That's genius. And also, I know I kind of.
Wait, I can't hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-mm.
Oh no, I don't know what happened. How about now?
Yeah, better.
Okay, cool. One last thing that I didn't ask you. How did you end up moving to South Africa?
You said, how's it been?
Did you
Or
end up moving to South Africa?
okay, so funny story is I knew that this was something I wanted to do. Like I wrote down LA to Cape Town on my Instagram after the first time I visited here. And I feel like I just started putting it out there. But
Wow.
due to Corona, I literally had like, I planned to do it like later in the year. I had 48 hours to move or I wasn't going to be able to move. So I had already like moved my stuff out of my apartment in LA. And like, I literally was like, driving around the U-Haul with my stuff for like almost a week, trying to get rid of it and sell stuff and donate it. Um, but yeah, I came here because I know that I'm more attached to the mission of what I want to do than my specific like product line, you know? So like I know coming here and like merging with my business partner and we're going to be able to create so much greatness. So I was just like, I got to do it. And I felt like it's one of those things where it was like, if you don't do it, you're going to hate yourself. And like, honestly, if I was home and the borders were closed, I'd have jumped off that Schuylkill bridge. Like, I had jumped right off. I'd have been done.
I feel like I really feel you. I had some travel intentions this year that are looking real. We don't know, but to soothe my pain, I went and bought two shares of American Airlines.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm not
Yes.
gonna. I mean, they were only like $10 a share because everything's on sale now, but that's a different story. But it was still kind of soothe the psychological pain of of not being able to travel. So
No, exactly. This was really, really like everything I do is really, really risky. And like, honestly, I feel like right now is a good time to kind of follow the journey because I'm still like, I am growing and learning, but I know that I trust myself and I feel like, and if I fail, I did it. Like, whatever, like, you know, like that's how I feel. So when she literally was like, first it was like, oh, can you come by next week? And I was already like, but then it was like, no, you have to leave by Friday. Like I had clients Friday, Saturday that I had to cancel just because I was like I
I
gotta
sound
go.
crazy, but I can't meet with you because I'm moving to South Africa. So
No, imagine my clients. They were like, wait, what? Like we just met. Like I'm just like, I'm so sorry. But you know, I think when God calls and you want something, like you have to be willing to take that risk and like jump out on faith. And I feel like I did that when I went to Portland. I took a leap when I moved to LA, and like the biggest leap of my life is going to be South Africa. But you know, I'm prayed up.
and I
I'm
mean,
good.
that's
Like,
far. It's like the journey keeps evolving and getting better, and so it's just like
I
at
feel like
this,
I'm living my brand, like literally. Like if this shit don't motivate you, and like I'm showing you, like this is sometimes very uncomfortable. There's been moments where I couldn't even pay my rent for months and months, but like that didn't stop me.
mm-hmm.
So,
You gotta keep
but
going.
yeah.
Gotta keep going. I'm gonna suggest a book for y'all people trying to just keep going and figure out why you get tempted to do crazy things, good crazy things. And it's called The Self-Esteem Prophecy.
Okay.
I was looking for it on my bookshelf down here because it's one of my favorites. But oh, here it is. It's really good. It's really, really good.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look it up. I just decided to commit myself to like reading a book a week. Okay, cool,
And
cool.
it's a pretty easy. It's not that thick. Um, but it's good. It really, and even for me, what I like about it is it even makes sense of the decisions that we make that feel like the wrong ones, or like why did we choose this way and this path had heartache and pain on it, and why did it look so shimmery and ooh, take this path at first. And it's like, well, if you knew on the front end all the stuff that was going to happen, you wouldn't have chose the path. Nobody does it. It's not really how the brain works. So it's a really amazing book and easy read. I suggest everyone read it. It's one of my favorites. So yeah, this was great. Thank you for taking the time. Good hour.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Seriously, I feel like I definitely want to be a resource to people. And like for a long time, I've just been like in my head, you know, and grinding. So like I didn't really look up, and I feel like I have a lot that I can like teach people just like professionally. And I feel like I want to be a resource so people can reach out to me if they have any questions. You know, I feel like a lot of people show love to me and help me during my journey, and I really want to return the favor.
Absolutely. We may have to bring you back on part 2 to talk about some professional stuff. This is more about a little bit professional, but we can definitely take some time to dig into it because you are definitely a wealth of information and knowledge, and I think that it'll be valuable to you. Yes, the sounds of South Africa. See, bites me everywhere. Does that make you feel like Philly?
Oh my God, hilarious. But yeah, no, thank you for real. That's like, I definitely appreciate it. And I love that you're helping Black women. You know, I didn't know what resources were available when I started my business. So if I knew what I know now, I would have like reached out, but it's cool that people are like making it their business to like let people know.
Yep, got to. Each one teach one. That's how we all get ahead.
Exactly.
So yes, y'all.
Exactly.
Has been another quarantine edition, I think, episode number 6 or 7 of the quarantine edition podcast. I've lost count at this point in time, which is a good thing. So yeah, thank y'all for listening. Tune in, like, subscribe, and share and tell somebody. Thank you, Megan, and I'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.